Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Engineers for Communities podcast. My name is Nate Yang, your host today, here with David Schneider with Round Mountain Water District. And you're the district manager?
I am the district manager.
Right on. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
So, David, it sounds like you're under some pressure from CDPHE about regulations with your lagoon system. Is that more or less situation you're in?
Oh, there's definitely challenges. So you have a health department that really, for the last decade and a half, have really been trying to get away from lagoon treatment, and have pretty much bought into mechanical treatment being the only solution. Which, in a perfect world, I guess it puts everything in a nice little small building and doesn't have floaties. And
the engineers are happy.
Yes, and it's whistles and motors, but the practical reality is that the rural districts cannot afford to build them and afford to operate them.
And how many people are in your community that you serve?
We have 723 taps and about 1,100 people.
People supporting installation of a whole new treatment plant when you have a lagoon system that could be optimized is a huge problem. And so
Right.
it sounds like you've been exploring down some other avenues.
We have been
Yeah.
putting every rock
Yeah.
until to try to find a. We went down the traditional path for about 5 years, hired a reputable company, and we went down the mechanical treatment path.
Yeah. What was the damage?
About 14 million. In the middle of that,
Holy.
Journey Creek that we were going to discharge to
Yeah.
became listed as impaired by EPA, which through our limits.
Oh, it's berserk because it no longer matters what the state has mandated as an acceptable discharge. Now it's exactly what that water body's quality is, and you might be the one to be the fault to tip it over, but it's already at 90% of its limit because of some dude upstream, or
They've never done a maximum contaminant level on that stream, so it's all guess.
Yeah. So they're trying to impose this mechanical treatment on a stream that's impaired but doesn't have an MCL.
Right. So then you get really extremely high limits because they're not sure what it really is. Right. So an arsenic of 0.2 parts per billion. The ludicrousy of it is that there's no lab in the state that can actually measure that.
Yeah.
0.05 is the lowest they can measure. So how do you meet something that's impossible to meet?
And the way these regulations got slapped on y'all was through the updated permit they gave you, or did this happen when the stream got listed as impaired, then you got hit?
So when the stream was listed as impaired, we were actually designing for a stream water discharge.
Yeah.
At that time, CDPHE said, you don't want to go there anymore because your limits are going to be extremely high. Go back to groundwater discharge. So we did that. We have 40 acres that we were trying at. So we spent a year and a half redesigning for that. We sent that in. The state then said, we have concerns about that land that you're applying.
Yeah.
Not sure the permeability of that soil. So then we did deep soil core sampling and that, and their concerns were justified. It's ancient volcanic ash that's turned into a real weak. Right. What happened? It's dispersive, so it would look like a pert grape, but all the super fines and settle down.
Yeah.
And they settle to a point, and then it seals.
And then straight into the stream. So basically, they push you back to
Right. So then we didn't have it for the stream discharge. So now so the more that we were trying to meet these limits, the bigger this plant got to be at the end. Yeah, was
I knew there was a story behind the
130 feet long, 3 stories tall.
Yeah.
For 90,000 gallons a minute. I mean,
oh my gosh. It's like the splinter that had made you cut your leg off. Yeah.
So,
holy cow.
So then we met with this 14 million. Well, nobody would give us the money. My median household income is $41,000.
David, I have a simple question. Why didn't you just raise the tap fee by $100,000 per house?
Yeah, because my median household income is only 40 and a pretty small grape to squeeze.
So you got a problem here. You got arsenic down to 0.02. You have a Lagoon system. You have a $14 million quote.
I was left back at square one because the engineering company I was using was like, this is our solution. We don't have any other solution. CDPHE technically approved that design. So it was my bad that I couldn't afford it.
I walked by, so I walked by the booth for electrocoagulation. I looked at the whole thing. I'm like, this is what I'm going to need to understand this before diving in. And as I was talking to them, they brought you up and said, you got to talk to David. Because I asked them, I said, where's this at regulatorily with the state of Colorado? Because we're here at CRWA. We want to understand what people in your shoes, what their options are. And if you can be someone who teaches and learns and you're the guinea pig for this, like, let's do it. Let's put it on display here. So, are you? From what I understand, you have a pilot on site there.
Yeah, we are
trying to gain approval.
CDPH has agreed to allow us to run a pilot system on both. I call it an optimized lagoon treatment, taking care of the persistent problems that lagoon treatment has, and then running a tertiary with the electrocoagulation.
Yeah.
The cleanup crew. Adding microalgae as your oxygen source. CDPHE is still pretty uncomfortable with that.
Sure.
But we're going to be doing that as part of this study too. So the great thing is if we can get this, we've done it. We proved it in small scale.
Yeah.
So we have met those crazy limits. We've got a non-detect arsenic, non-detect phosphorus by combining a specifically designed microbe solution for BioAugmentation married with electrocoagulation.
Wow. And is the microalgae this solution that you were talking about here?
Additional to that.
So you go BioAugmentation and microalgae. You feed the BioAugmented, I don't know if that's right, the BioAugmented bugs with the oxygen and the microalgae. Then on the back end, you polish it off in electrocoagulation.
And we were achieving non-detects.
In your small scale study.
Right.
What was the flow rate on that study?
It was pretty small, so it was just 2 gallons.
Yeah, 2 gallons per day.
Pretty much so, because what we take is 2 gallons treated with microbes.
So you did it like an SBR, just like bing, bing,
pretty
bing.
much like
now, your pilot, is it installed? Is it running? What's the status there? Yeah.
So we're in the process. So we had our first offering to CDPHE was we had a set of lagoon cells that have already been dug out, size baby, and real time numbers with real time flows. So we did all that, sent it in. And basically their concern was we're putting too much, you could say, permanent structures in without CDPHE approval. Because you technically don't need CDPHE approval to run a pilot. They have to approve. There's a demonstration approval, but you don't have to go through the site app and all that. So then we went back to the drawing board and said, okay, well, we have an existing lagoon treatment train that's running. How about we optimize that existing train, which will help us because it's overloaded right now. We'll desludge it, expand it, stir it, and do the things that we want to design, and to add the microbes and the single cell algae. And then we'll bring in something, we'll just do a smaller scale electrocoagulation at the end, because electrocoagulation.
Got it. Basically what you're saying is like, hey, here's the deal. We'll just upgrade our lagoon. We'll do the BioAugmentation and the microalgae because those you don't need their approval for right now.
Correct.
And then you'll just do a pilot electrocoagulation and test the effluent on the back end. And that could be whatever size unit you end up getting, you know.
It's really easy to scale up electrocoagulation.
It's not going to make the effluent any worse. So you guys are sitting in a good spot. And what's the status of that electrocoagulation pilot? Is that waiting on after these existing upgrades to like go into effect?
So I'll need to desludge the lagoon, optimize, get that stuff in. We already have Scott Powell has graciously powered us, rented us a pilot trailer that he designed for another project.
Very cool.
Put $1.5 million into. It's a great big semi trailer.
Wow.
It's got all kinds of features.
And he's going to roll that on site, show everybody what we already know, which is that electrocoagulation can improve the quality of this effluent to the point where the arsenic's a non-detect and puts you guys back in compliance.
Right, so that we can build. So what we're doing is proving that, hey, we can optimize an existing treatment train, throw in the electrocoagulation unit on the back, and 98% of these systems will easily be in compliance.
Now, just to wrap it up, the limits you got are pretty strict, uncharacteristically strict for a system your size because of the impaired strain.
Right. Well, I had an argument with the water control. He says that it's actually more based on their new stream limits that
those come out too.
So what happens is the higher you are up in the beginning of the stream, the more stricter limits are.
Yeah.
The mindset is then there's less that builds up on the way down. But
one way or another, you've received these limits that are just unfeasible to treat with the given technology, which is why instead of a $1 million quote for a package plant, you got a $14 million quote.
Yes.
Okay, so other communities may be able to get off with the $1 million quote because, hey, we could pull that off reasonably, but 14 was just too much. Now, when you look at the solution, you're going with the BioAugmentation plus microalgae plus the electrocoagulation. What
kind of ballpark?
Ballpark-wise, because it's got to be below 14, but how much competitive would that be with a typical, package plant that may otherwise be a solution for a community? Like communities, be looking at this even if they don't have these limits yet, but may get them in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll do our full build out will be 2 trains.
So you can treat like one, work on one redundancy.
And then that'll double our capability, 140,000 gallons a day. I project that to be about $4.5 to $5 million to do that whole project.
Okay, so it'd be more expensive than a standalone package plant, but just way less than something
that standalone package. Ever get that? Will never.
But those people with the standalone, if these new streamlines come out and the CDPHE starts operating this way, this may be their number one option.
Right. So the beauty is, small rural system has an already existing lagoon. Wouldn't it be nice if we can use that existing infrastructure that they have? We don't have to start all over. We optimize that, put a 30 by 30 pole barn, insulated pole barn with a EC unit in, and you're going to need it.
And sounds like, if anything, your aeration costs may go down from the microalgae. Since it gets off the O2 and
I've studied their plant over in Oklahoma. I went over with a DO because I was a skeptical.
Because the thing we were always raised, right, like algae in water creates eutrophication. Like it's what they tell you, and they're telling us now, no, if you just do the laminar flow microalgae, it's like you get more oxygen. I'm like, same thing. I was like, give me a DO meter. Let me stick that in there. Yeah.
So I did. And then I went down there, and the plant hadn't run for 2 weeks because they were having drama within the town thing. So I thought, well, for sure, this should be a dead cells because they haven't been adding anything.
Yeah.
And I went to the first cell, put it in. It was like 8 milligrams per liter.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and it looked like it's just like a normal lagoon. Like, oh, that's wild.
And I went to the very far pond to say, okay, it should be dead over there. It was like 6.
Yeah.
I actually went out with a boat and got in the middle and put it down.
Yeah.
And it was like 8 to 10.
Wow. That's incredible. Holy cow.
So it's like, there is something to this. CDPHE is always very nervous about adding anything. I think the legitimacy, if they can do 50, 80% of your production, now your costs for forcing oxygen, well, we force air, which is what? How much percentage of this oxygen is actually oxygen?
21%. Yeah. Now, whereas the O2 that the algae gives off is 100% O2 as a plant. Yeah. It almost makes too much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Far be it from that.
Oh, all from a Google search.
Yeah, all from a Google search.
That's incredible.
So this is expanded from us trying to find an effective, affordable, and sustainable solution to this could be statewide a real deal maker for the rural small systems that, Reg 31 is coming at 2028. Everybody's going to have to meet some kind of nutrient limit, and they're going to be in compliance one day and in violation the next.
And that was the next question I had for you was, I don't know the microalgae well enough to know if that optimizes the lagoon for nutrient removal, but does that also knock down the nitrogen and phosphorus to a point where
they'll eat it just because they're a plant and
or if it's a big environment.
Yes, we've done it, of course, small scale. We need to do it bigger scale.
But with a DO of 6 or 8, how is D-night happening? And
right, you're going to have to find
like an anoxic zone somewhere.
Right. Yeah. So what we're doing is we'll probably, and this is what this scale test is maybe we rely a little bit more on Fiden bubble diffusers.
Yeah.
But we're going to put them in series so that we can adjust. So we need to,
or even just like maybe even just a fixed bed, with some sort of baffle on it.
That's part of this to find out what we need to do.
Yeah. Well, right now it's not the nitrogen they're hammering you on. It's the
they have some heartburn about denitrification, and I think that's a fair thing to do, but I think there's some creative ways to be able to do that. So I'm excited to see that, and if we have to adjust, we'll be able to adjust. The flexibility that we have in treatment, because that's the other mindset is there's no flexibility in Lagoon. It just comes in, it does the thing but if we have a series of aeration things that we can shut off.
Even when that's like a backup aerator that you can run to get some denitrification, but also could run to get
and then we could shut it off to let it ignite. The beauty of so it actually happens if you use these algae, they go to sleep at night and suck all the oxygen when they're not producing it.
So there's no sunlight. You might get denitrification at night.
Get your automatic denitrification.
Or you may be just having a covered portion of the lagoon where they're kind of dead, and that might be solutions. These are things that are to be answered during the pilot.
That's why we're doing the pilot.
Incredible.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It's gaining a lot of attention throughout the state.
Yeah.
Because there's not only us are getting that sticker shock.
Oh yeah.
Because anything that comes, any wastewater treatment plant has to do any improvement. CDPHE is putting those potential new limits on them, and they're getting sticker shock and saying, "You want us to do what?"
Yeah.
Or to start measuring for this, and then they'll go and find an engineer and they'll give them a big mechanical treatment plant, and they all go. So for us, for instance, this titanium plant that they propose, not only could we not afford it, but when I went to see the operational expense, it was going to be almost $500,000 a year just to operate.
So even if you get the thing funded, it's still a crushing expense. Yeah.
They would have given it to us for free. I still couldn't afford to run it.
Yeah.
because I bring in about $430,000 a year.
Nowhere on the spreadsheet did that make sense. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. They just don't, the money is our problem.
Yeah.
Well, it's really engineers. The first question they should be is, what can you afford?
That seems to be something that's missing from the way this industry operates. But with conversations like we're having, hopefully there's some awareness of the people that are in the shoes that you found yourself in and learn from the actions you've taken. So
I pounded and will continue to pound. The encouraging thing at CDPHE at the first thing at the conference here, feasibility. So it's finally getting through that we have to find something feasible, or they're just going to give up and walk away. And it's true.
Yeah.
We've told CDPHE, if we can't find a feasible solution, we'll mail them the keys to you.
And the state's going to have to deal with
it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck. Well, David, thank you so much. Hopefully we can catch up in a couple months and hear more about the pilot. Maybe make it out there on site. Yeah. I would die to get into that trailer, to be honest. Yeah. And thanks for being on the show.
Very good. Thank you.